Welcome to all of you. Myself Archana Sharma from Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology, Pharmacy Institute, Greater Noida, and I am here to deliver my lecture on the topic pallets. Okay. So, in this lecture we basically discuss about what is pallets and what are the formulation requirement for the manufacturing of the pallets and what is the mechanism of the drug release from the pallets. Okay. So, what are pallets? Pallets are generally tiny particles. Okay. Pellets are small, free flowing, spherical. Pellets are Pellets are small, free flowing, spherical particles and spherical particulate manufactured by the agglomeration of fine powder or granules. Pellets are having size of about 1500 micrometer. The process which is used for preparation of granules is called palletization. So, what is pellets? These are a small free flowing spherical particles. So, as we saw in the figure, these are the small spherical particles and they are either manufactured by converting the powder into a fine spherical particles or by manufacturing the granules, and they have the size range in between 1500 micrometer. Their size and shape allow the administration as injection and also for the oral drug delivery. So, due to their small size of the pellet, they are preferred for the administration into the injections also as well as for the oral drug delivery purpose also. In palletization process, powder blend API and excipients particle is converted into the spherical granule. So, in the process of making the pellets, what we do? We generally mix the API, that is the active pharmaceutical ingredient, and the excipient together, and we convert them into the small spherical form of granules or a sphere just like this. Okay. So, these granules can be filled into capsules or compressed as a tablet. Okay. Then further what we do after preparing, we fill them into the capsule shells or we compress into the tablet. Then sustained, immediate and targeted drug delivery is possible by using pellets. So, we can give it in the form of sustained release, immediate release, targeted delivery is also possible with the pellet technology. Advantages of pellet: improve aesthetic appearance of the product. So, it is going to improve the aesthetic appearance of the product. Coating of drug pellets with different polymers to achieve controlled release rate of drug. So, by giving a coating, okay, suppose if I am preparing sustained release pellets. So, I give the coating of the sustained release polymer to control the release rate of the drug from the pellet. For immediate release product, large surface area of pellets enables better distribution, dissolution and absorption. So, if I am preparing a immediate release product, so due to its small nature, okay, small size, okay, so we always know that if smaller the size, better will be the distribution and better will be the dissolution and the absorption. जितना छोटा size होगा उतना ही better उसका absorption rate होगा. So, it is a very good candidate for the immediate release product. Chemically incompatible products can be formulated into pellets and delivered into single doses form by encapsulating them. So, those who are chemically incompatible products, they can also be formulated into the form of pellet and they can be easily delivered into the single doses form and or single doses form by encapsulating them, by giving a proper encapsulation. Then disadvantages. What are its disadvantages? Since it is very expensive process, okay, you need to change the size. So, for changing the size you need to change the technology also. So, it is a expensive process, it requires highly specialized equipment. Okay. Then it is complicated with too many process variable as well as formulation variable. So, the processing variable or the process variable is little bit complicated as compared to the manufacturing of other doses form. Then what are the application of pellets? So, as I already told you that they, you can hide the unwanted taste of a drug by making into the form of pellets. We can give the immediate release tablets in immediate release pellet. We can also formulate sustained release pellets. We can give for the go for the chemically incompatible products. We can go for the varying doses without reformulation. Then mechanism of drug release drug release from pellets. So, how the drug is going to be released from the pellets. Okay. So, first is your erosion. First mechanism is erosion. Erosion, some coatings are designed to erode gradually with time, thereby releasing the drug contained within the particle. So, if this is your pellet, so what is the fundamental of what is the concept of erosion? In this, the what we do, there are certain coatings of the pellets which get eroded as soon as it comes in contact with the fluid, okay, thereby releasing the drug from the pellet. Okay, clear? So, what is erosion? Some coatings are designed to erode gradually with the time, thereby releasing the drug contained within the particle. Then another concept is osmosis. Okay. So, with the help of generating the osmotic pressure, we are going to release the drug from the pellet. ठीक है, हम क्या करेंगे इसके अंदर में इतना high we produce so high osmotic pressure that the drug oozes out from it and releases into the solution. Okay. Then osmosis, it allowing water to enter the right circumstances, and osmotic pressure can be built up within the interior of the particle. The drug is forced out of the particle into the exterior through the coating. Then diffusion, on contact with the aqueous fluid in the gastrointestinal tract, water diffuses into the interior of the particle, drug dissolution occurs and the drug solution diffuses across the release coat to the exterior. So, what will happen in the diffusion? If you keep the pellet in contact with the water, okay, or the aqueous fluid or the gastrointestinal fluid, what will happen? The fluid slowly diffuses inside your pellet, okay, and thereby the drug dissolution occur. Inside it, drug dissolution occur. What will happen when the drug dissolution occur? The drug, what will happen? The drug slowly it will get diffuses into the solution and accordingly it releases the drug to the external environment. Clear? So, this is the mechanism of the drug release by the process of diffusion. Next, formulation of pellet. For the formulation of the pellets, we need to add certain ingredients or excipient. Okay. So, following excipients are used in the manufacturing of the pellet. So, first of all, like a drug or the API. Okay. So, what is API? It is the active pharmaceutical ingredient which are responsible for showing the desired therapeutic effect onto the person against a particular disease condition. Apart from the API, what we add, another is agglomeration inducer or a binder. Okay. So, what is the basic role of this binder? They bind the binder, they provide a adhesive property to the particles of the powder so that they remain in close contact with each other. ठीक है, पाउडर्स के पार्टिकल्स को सफिशिएंट एडहेसिव प्रॉपर्टीज प्रोवाइड करता है सो दैट वो बाइंड होके जो है एक आपका पैलेट का शेप ले सके. Okay, so these materials are added in the formulation of pallets to hold the powder together and maintain integrity of integrity of pallets. These adhesive materials can be used in two ways, in the form of solution and secondly directly as a powder followed by addition of liquid in the formulation. So, we can give this agglomeration inducer or a binder into the two ways. First we make a direct formula solution or we directly use it as a powder, directly add a powder into the formulation and then we add a liquid into the formulation and we mix it. The mechanism of action of the binder involves formation of liquid bridge that holds the powder together, but as the liquid evaporates the precipitating and hardening of the binder take place, leading to the generation of the binding force and with the possibility of the soluble constituents to crystallize and contribute to the binding mechanism. So, what is its mode of action is that when we incorporate the binder into the formulation, what will go? It provides its binding effect or it increases the cohesive property of the particle, thereby it lets it develops a bridging between the two particles, leading them to remain in close contact with each other. The binders are commonly used in the range of 2 to 10% weight by weight or volume by volume. Example: gelatin, povidone, carboxymethyl cellulose, sodium, CMC. Then granulating fluid. The optimum level of moisture content imparts the required plasticity and cohesiveness to the wet mass to give a perfect spherical shape. So, we are making a pallets. So, for preparing the pallet, we need to convert the dry solid powder into a wet mass. Then further from the wet mass, it will get converted into the form of spherical product. So, for spherical pallets, so for making them into the spherical shape, we need to incorporate the granulating agent. So, for that what they do? They provide a sufficient moisture so that the dry solid powder get converted into the form of wet mass. Okay. So, the presence of excessive moisture contents leads to agglomeration of pallets during the preparation process due to the presence of excess solvent system on the surface of the pallet, while less quantity leads to generation of fine with large size distribution of pallet. So, optimum level is required, optimum level of moisture content is required for the making the pallet. If high moisture content is present, what will happen? It will lead to the sticking, that is agglomeration of the pallets. आपस में ऐसे ऐसे जो bind होने लगेंगे and led to the formation of agglomerates. Okay. And if we are going it to use into a less quantity, then what will happen? It will form a very fine particles. Okay. Very fine particles, छोटे छोटे. Okay. So, for this reason we need to incorporate a optimum moisture content. Then for that purpose we can use any aqueous solvent, alcoholic, hydroalcoholic or other organic liquids. Then spheronization enhancers. Okay. The role of the spheronization enhancer is to improve the shape, spherical nature of the pallets. उसको all spherical बनाने के लिए जो है जो हम ingredient excipient use करते हैं, that is called the spheronization enhancer. So, spheronization enhancer are used to improve the spherical shape of the pallets during spheronization and balling process. So, when we are using the extrusion and spheronization method, or when we are preparing the pellets through the boiling process. In that case, we need to incorporate the spheronization enhancers, so to give the desired shape, to the desired spherical shape to the pellets. These are added to improve plasticity and binding properties, which are essential for pellet strength and integrity. So, what they do? They are going to improve the plasticity and the binding properties for the pellets, which is required or which is important for maintaining its strength and its integrity. Then fillers, they are used to increase the bulk of the powder in the process of palletization. Okay. So, if fillers are also known as bulking agent, and they are generally incorporated into the formulation to improve or to increase the required bulk of the powder. Okay. So, in the process of palletization, 70 to 80% of the excipient is formed by filler. So, generally they occupy 70 to 80% of the space. Then for that purpose we use microcrystalline cellulose is used for this purpose. Also Avicel pH 101 is considered to be the palletization adding excipient in this process. Then plasticizer. Okay. Plasticizer, as the name indicates, what it will going to do? It will increase the flexibility. Okay. So, to improve the flexibility of the polymer by reducing the tensile strength and glass transition temperature of the material, the plasticizer should be incorporated. So, in the process of palletization, okay, so since there is lot of transformation taking place during the process or the manufacturing of the pellets, so we need to incorporate the plasticizer. Okay. So, it reduces the tensile strength and the glass transition temperature of the material, thereby improving its flexibility. The plasticizer should be compatible with polymer as well as polymer solvent used to make a film. So, whatever the plasticizer we are going to incorporate into the formulation, that needs to be compatible with the other excipient. Otherwise, if it is not compatible, then it will create interaction and problem in the formulation of the pellet. So, example are Eudragit, propylene glycol and dibutyl phthalate. So, we can use Eudragit, propylene glycol or dibutyl phthalate as a plasticizer. The next is your separating agent. Okay. So, the role of the separating agent, as the name is indicate, is they are going to prevent the formation of agglomerates. What happen? Due to its small size and a lot of moisture present, the pellets have the tendency to get stick with each other, thereby forming a agglomerates. Okay. Cluster of pellets is called agglomerates. So, to prevent the formation of agglomerates, we need to incorporate a separating agent. Okay. So, these are used to separate the pellets from each other. These agents get absorbed on the surface of the pellet and to avoid the formation of aggregate. So, they are incorporated into the formulation. What will happen when you are going to incorporate the separating agent into the formulation? They are going to coat the outer surface of the pellet. ये आपका pellet है, उसके surface पे जाके they will, what will happen? They will adsorb at the surface of the pellet. ठीक है. अब क्या है? Okay. In all the pellets, they provide a outer covering. Now, the two pellets, they are not going to get stick together. Okay. So, there is no formation of agglomerates or aggregates. Clear? The amount of separating agent used differ with the type of formulation and the manufacturing process, and they are used in dry form during spheronization to prevent adhesion of the spheres to the friction plate and the cylindrical wall of the spheronization. Okay. So, the amount and the type of separating agent depends upon the manufacturing process variables, depends upon the manufacturing process which we are going to use. Generally, they are added in the dry form during the spheronization process, so that when we are shaping the pallets into the form of sphere, at that time the pallets should not get stick with each other. Okay. So, then surfactant. Surfactant, it reduces the surface tension between the liquids and the drug particle. So, as its name suggests, what are surfactants? Surfactant are the surface active agent, and they reduce the surface tension between the two different system, such as they reduce the surface tension between the liquid and the drug particle. So, for making the pallets, it is very necessary that the solid should be get wetted with the liquid. Okay. Otherwise, what will happen? It will not powder will not transform into the solid wet mass, and further from wet mass to the spherical particles and then final pallets. So, for that reason, to improve the wetting property, we need to add a surface tension. The use of surfactant increasing the wetting ability of the liquid, reducing interfacial tension between the liquid and the drug particle. Okay. So, the use of surfactant increases the wetting ability. So, they improve the wetting tendency of the solid with the liquid. Okay. The use of surfactant increasing the wetting ability of the liquid, reducing the interfacial tension which exists between the interface of the liquid and the solid drug particle. It is important because liquid forms the bridge between powder particles. These bridge helps to hold the particles together. So, if wetting ability of liquid is increased, then it will have the positive impact on growth and smooth surface formation of pallet. So, it is very necessary that it is very important, because liquid have the tendency to form a bridge between the powder particle. So, to break down that bridge, okay. So, to break down that bridge, it is necessary to incorporate the surfactant. So, if wetting ability of the liquid is increased, then it will have the positive impact on the growth and surface of the formation of pallet. Then pH adjuster. The pH adjuster are the substance that are added in the pallet formulation to influence the microenvironment of drug molecule. Okay. So, pH adjuster, they are going to added into the pallet formulation to adjust the pH of the formulation. Then release modifiers. These agents generally influences the release rate of drug. We can formulate the pallet course with a specific release rate by adding the release modifiers during formulation. Generally, water soluble low molecular weight excipient, surfactant and disintegrants are incorporated in formulation to enhance the drug release rate. Some water insoluble substances having swelling property can also be used as release modifiers. So, the role of the release modifier is to modify the rate of release of the drug from the pallet. Suppose, if I am making a immediate release, okay. So, immediate release, what we expect or what we observe, the release of the drug from the pallet should be quick. So, we are going to incorporate such type of polymer into it which enhance the release of release profile of the drug. Okay. If we are making the sustain, so we are going to incorporate such polymers which sustain the slow down the release rate of the drug from the pellets. So, basically the role of the release modifiers is to enhance the release or to control the release of the drug from the formulation. Then flavoring agent, these are added to mask the unpleasant taste. The flavor selection of the particular formulation also depends upon the drug to be incorporated in the formulation. Mint flavors is generally added in product used for gastric related ailments like indigestions. Flavoring agent can be from synthetic and natural origin. The role of the flavoring agent is to mask the unpleasant taste, and the flavoring agent we can take it from the synthetic as well as natural origin. Then coloring agent are generally used in order to improve the appearance and make it more patient acceptable, more patient compliance. Pigments such as titanium dioxide or FD and C approved coloring agents are used either in the dry form or mixed with the granulating fluid during the formulation. These are the reference. Thank you.